Okay, so the subject we're talking about is Yush and Shinui. The subject is talking about if Ganav is Kona. The reason why we came to the subject over here, I think really the subject is going to be more about Messiah. But over here it talks about it because we talked about Dalit Vehe, that if Ganav, after he slaughtered it. Thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning. And Ganav, after he stole it, if he slaughtered it or sold it, so there's an extra fee of Dalit Vehe. And that the Gemara said that if there's a Shinui, he's not going to be chayiv. If he's Kona, it's not going to be chayiv of Dalit Vehe because he slaughtered his own. He didn't slaughter the Ganos. That's how the Gemara started in Samach Hayam with base. Over there was a particular question if it's called a Shinoi, the animal grew up from a lamb to a ram. That was the particular question if that's called a Shinoi or not. But then the Gemara went
an aisle is the same.
An aisle is a ram, and that's only when it's big, when it's 13 months old.
Yeah.
A seh means a sheep or a goat, and it I don't know if it includes a ram.
Because
it's usually
by a cave, it first says a seh, and then it says an aisle. Right? First says Avram tells you so bring a seh, and then it changes to
because that was not true. When he said he's going to be a seh, it was not a seh, and then later on I was going to be Yitzchak. And after he said Yitzchak, then he found an aisle.
Okay.
But it is interesting that Hashem orchestrated there should be an aisle over there. Dafka an aisle.
That aisle was created before creation. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
But surely the fact that it was orchestrated that it was there. But so now was a question mark came into that, is that called a Shinui or not? But then the Gemara on Daf Samach Vav went into the subject in general of Shinui is Kona or not. And Yush, over there, everybody agreed that Shinui is Kona. And the Machlokus we're in the middle of now is about Yush. Rabba said Yush is Kona. Rav Yosef said Yush is not Kona. Those are the players over here, Rabba and Rav Yosef. We're going to have some more opinions coming up. So those are the players over here. And Rabba himself said that Shinui is Kona. But the Rai says a pasuk and also Mishnayos. It means a pasuk of Asher Gozal. That means Kain Shagozal. But if it was changed, if it isn't the same thing anymore, so then he doesn't have to return to the gun of his Kona. And he also brought in Mishnayos. Yush, he said, he didn't tell us how he knows, but he says that Yush is Kona Midrabanan. Is Kona? Question is if it's Midrabanan with the Rai, you learn it out from Aveda. By Aveda, if you picked it up, the lost object after the owner was Yimeyah, so you're allowed to keep it. That shows that Yush is enough by an Aveda. And the question is that also enough to apply to when it came to his hands Be'isr, like by Gzela, he also applied the concept that the Yush is Kona or not. That's why, but that was a question if it's the Rais or Rabbanan, but Rabba was convinced for sure. He doesn't tell us how he knows that the Yush is Kona, at least with Rabbanan. Rav Yosef says Yush is not Kona. They were in the middle of the Rais now. More on top of the page, I had one Rai from Chometz that he does not have to, the Ganav who stole Chometz and returned it after Pesach, he does gives the Chometz back. And even though now it's not worth anything, he says, this is your Chometz, even though it became worthless. That's a good hashava. But the most kasha was if you hold Yush is Kona, so the owner was Meyayish before Pesach when it was still was worth money. And then the Ganav should have to pay whatever was worth before Pesach. And then why answer that's different because he didn't want to be Kona. Yush is Kona if somebody picks it up, if somebody is on the receiving end. But if no one's on the receiving end, so then Yush alone is not. So if Yosef got out of that kasha, we're up to the second kasha now, which is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lines from the top. Samach Bava and base. Now the truth is, it is against Rabbi. He's challenging Rabbi's opinion, but it seems that he's talking to Rabbi. The Gersa and the Kisvayah, this Rabbi says on the side also that the Marshal changed it to Rabbi. Today, Gemara is going to sound a little bit like it's Rabbi. The next Gemara, a few lines later, Rabbi is going to answer. So it's better to change the Gersa to Rabbi. It's challenging Rabbi. It is challenging Rabbi's opinion, but it's asking Rabbi. There's a pasuk that says that a person brings a korban. Adam Piakim became korban Hashem. Korban no. It says the word korban no, his korban. And there's a drash over there that says that the stolen korban is not kosher. End of that brisa. Now Abai is going to analyze the brisa. What does it mean that a stolen korban is not good? If it's before the owner gave up hope of getting it back, then surely you don't need a pasuk that the Ganav is not going to be Kona. There's nothing. There's no Yush. There's no Shino. There's nothing. So surely the Ganav is not his. How could you think if Yosef was somebody else's korban? somebody else's animal. The Gemara says pshita. I'm not sure why so pshita. Why did you not? You might ask
What's it on?
there may be mitzvah baba we could talk about, but near the Gemara is pshita. I'm not sure why it's pshita. Why is it pshita that you're not doing it with somebody else's korban, with somebody else's animal? The Gemara is going to soon say that he stole the korban after it's a korban, but here it sounds like he stole an animal.
Because you can bring from your own.
Because of another pasuk. That's what the Gemara means.
I'm throwing it out.
That's what the Gemara means, because there's another pasuk. You don't need to get another pasuk of korban. Okay, I didn't look around so much. I didn't see that, but maybe it sounds good. We know already that a stone korban is not good. Why do you have to have another pasuk for? Usually the Gemara would read the pasuk. I'm not sure. The Gemara here says pshita. You're saying it's based on another pasuk. So good. Okay, I hear. There must be something happened. The animal didn't change. So what changed? There must be a chiddush over here that is stolen korban is not good. It must be that even lachayish is not good. From we know lachayish yish lo kone. The Abba is asking Kashan Rav, but you're saying yish is kone. Here you see that yish is not kone. I'm just wondering, as I'm talking, I didn't have a chavrusa today, so I'm just talking with everybody if it's okay to be a chavrusa. That the Rabbi himself didn't know if it's the rice of Rabbanan. This would not be a kasha on him if he holds that it's Rabbanan, but the rice is not kone. So the kasha wouldn't be on him if he holds that it's only with Rabbanan kone. But let's say if you hold that with the rice, it's kone. So how come? So here it says that it's not a good korban. Lamali must be lacha yish, and still it's not a good korban. Shramina yish lo kane. That's the kasha on Rabba who says yish is kone. Must be something. The rice must telling you a chiddush. It must be that there was some change in that. What was the change? Not a shinoi, ma'aser. But it would be that the owner was miyayish and still staying the side of the korban. Amalei.
This machlekes is kind of is svara.
Rabbi said that by Aveda you find in the Torah that Yish is kona. That's the source that we see that Yish is kona by an Aveda. And the question is, does it apply to when it came to Rishus B'Israel also? When it came to Rishus B'Heter, you saw somebody drop something, and you know that it's miyayish already. But the rice you're allowed to take it. So that's the source you see Aveda Yish or something. Another question is maybe when it came to San B'Israel, maybe it's different. That was the Gemara yesterday. That sounds like maybe that's going to be the source. Maybe.
Okay.
And then the source is going to be, is there a difference if it's Bob being Yadol Israel better? So,
in case someone throws something away by accident.
is it what?
Someone throws away something.
What does it mean he threw it away? Like, that's kind of a monkey.
Yes,
That's
it's a test that they're getting rid of. He forgot that he put in $50,000 in behind the shelf. $80,000. That was the case. That was the case. Yeah, $80,000.
If he doesn't know about it, then it's Yishalom Adas. It's not hefker. It wasn't hefker. Then or was it? If he would know about it, he might be miyayish, or he might not. He might have thought I'm not kind of. So that you have to know if he's miyayish or not. Yishalom Adas means that he would be miyayish if he would know about it, but he didn't know about it, so he wasn't miyayish. So these are six about Mitzvah. I think the Gesuk is over there, but it came in over here because like we started today. They came into our sugis because then he won't be chayv dalad v'hei. If the Ganav is going to be koned, so then there's no dalad because it's shalot over shalom mocher. So it's coming in a little bit agav. I don't know too much, but the ikasugi should be a bambatzia. So the Gemara is being arrived here that yesh lo kani. So here it says that by korban there's a miyut to say that gozel is not good, and the Gemara says it can't be without anything. It has to be some kind of a chiddush. The chiddush must be that yesh, and you see that it's not koned. Amalei Rava applied to Abaya to defend Rava. So yesterday we came across this, we stopped it up, we got stuck over here. That Mishkova Rashi seems to say that Mishkova that Tumas Mishkov, this Tumah Chamura of a Zav, that when he lies on a bed, anybody that it comes to a Tumah Chamura, and somebody that touches it becomes a Tumah Chamura. So it only applies if it's his own, and if it's not his, it doesn't become susceptible to Tumah. New Chiddush that we never heard of. And yesterday, I've listened to the Rambam says the same thing. And then the Hatzroll just helps us out. Taisa says B'Tema. Taisa over here says B'Tema. How could it be? He doesn't ask, he has a kasha also, but here this Taisa, which one is it? The one thing Taisa says is B'Tema without asking any kasha. Says how could it be? Where's the Taisa over here? V'Zel Tema and Taisa the Gazal Mishkov the Chavi. Bash B'Toch Fisha Countries. Shevat Saloma Mishkav Gomor Shel Chavero. He stole somebody else's bed. Im Goslo Inu Tamid Mishkav. Xer Sekosavu. V'zeu Tema. That's kasha number one. So I got the first kasha. So thing. After that, Krus Mara Mishnah is that it's not true that even if somebody else is also has too much Mishkav, and therefore Tosh says not Pshat. Tosh says different than Rashi. No, stolen a actual bed. And that's what I spoke about that from the Tosis read that maybe Rashi also doesn't mean that maybe Rashi only means that after by stolen, not by it doesn't have to be yours, but stolen is different. Tosis understood Rashi that anything that doesn't belong to the owner is not going to have to mishkav. Other than the Zav himself has to be his bed, and that the Tosis read says maybe Rashi also doesn't mean that, maybe only mean because many Mishnah is against it. So maybe it only means it's stolen. If it was stolen, if the Zav stole it, so then it doesn't have to mishkav. It's also Xer but it's not.
Here and sits down on the seat.
Meaning,
Is it his?
is it his? So you can say that he rented it, whatever, but that's called paying for the bus. But so according to Rashi, if you take Rashi literally, then if it's not his, maybe renting is also like his. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Rashi would hold the horror. Yes, the horror that would be enough to be considered his. But Rashi says that it has to be his. Tyson says the Rashi holds literally, and he rejects it because you see many Mishnahs that you don't have to. You can do too much mishkabim if you don't own it. And the Tyson's read, the way Oscar brings down is maybe Rashi himself only means exercise because of when it was stolen. Anyway, back to Asugya. So we have to remember about Tumas Mishkav. That there is such a Rashi and Rambam that say that. Maybe Rashi's literal. Rambam seems to say so, like I've said yesterday. But anyway, what does the Gemara want from all this? That there's a similar drasha. Just like it says Karbanov law Gazel, it also says Mishkavo. We learn out the law Gazel. Echidami, what is the case over there that is not considered his Mishkav? Echidami lame with the Gazel Imrab the Mishkav if he stole the parts that you need in order to make the bed, which is more talks about Semer, he's making a mattress, whatever it might be, or the wall, and he made it into a bed. That's why I'm Shashinui. Maisa, and everybody holds, at least Amaram. We said yesterday that Shammai doesn't hold the Shashinui Maisa, but Amaram do. Today we'll see maybe some Amaram that don't also. But the ones we're talking about, Rabbi of Yosef, everybody agrees that a Shashinui Maisa is enough to make a kinina for the Goslin, and then the Zob will load it. Does anybody hold that changing it won't be a kinyan? And if he made it into a bed, he would be kona, and it would be his bed. There would be too much mishkav. So what's the verse mean? Mishkav below agazel. The gazel mishkav dechavri. It means that he already stole the ready-made bed, and therefore what? That so the Gemara doesn't speak out what the answer is, and the Gemara says, "I proved that Mishkab Abul Gazel is talking about that it's a ready-made bed that he stole." So the Gemara seems to answer that don't think that it was an animal that he stole and he made it into a carbon. He stole a carbon, and that's why it's not a good carbon. The Gemara doesn't seem to explain too much. The Gemara is pretty vague, I think, obscure. It just says all the Gemara proves is that it's carbon the carbon. We're talking about years. Is years kona? Is years not kona? Right? The Gemara doesn't explain what the answer is. I want to know. It says here. Karbono Galoa Gazel, and the Gemara will try to knock it down that it's talking about years, and years is not Kona. So don't you see that years is not Kona? And all the Gemara proves is that it's talking about all the more answers is that he stole a carbon. How does the answer the kasha? How does the answer the kasha? So Rashi, at least one shot, Rashi says, second shot, Rashi says that if he stole the carbon, then the years doesn't affect anything. It's true that over here years doesn't affect anything, but that's because he's not the owner anymore. Once he made it into a carbon, it's Hashem's carbon. Because of the Rahman, it's Hashem's treasury now. So now the years that the owner had doesn't affect anything because it's in Hashem's rishus already. And therefore doesn't affect our subject. Let's see Rashi over here inside. I'm not sure if I got it right, but the second shot, the carbon goes, I'm not doing the first shot, Rashi second shot, the goes the carbon the Chavi Hilka, Chapilu Lacha years, Lo Kanye. It's true that it's after years, it's not Kona, but it has nothing to do with our subject. The carbon ain't an exile. The carbon can't be stolen. The Cholechad he said because of the Rahman he said wherever it is, it's in Hashem's treasury. So the years of the owner is only an issue on the animal before it was a carbon. Then you can talk about if he succeeded in stealing it from him by the year shalom. But once it's a carbon, so then the owner's years doesn't affect anything because it's already in Hashem's domain, right. And Hashem wasn't being call it like that.
He bought this carbon.
He stole it,
and then he bought it.
Why do you say he bought it?
Oh, I thought he bought it as a carbon.
Oh, he bought it?
The guy who stole
Brought it or bought it?
bought it.
BOU?
Yeah, did not pay
One
for
or
it.
what? No, what?
I thought he took it for a carbon after.
Again, he stole a korban, and he came to the base of Mikdash and wants to bring the korban.
Yeah,
So it's not a good korban.
it's not good.
And the question was, do you see that Hirsch is not Cohen? Why is it not? It's his. Why is it not a good korban? It's his. It Hirsch. So the one says, because here the Hirsch is not going to help because he stole the korban. So the Hirsch of the original owner doesn't affect anything because it's already Hashem's.
And does it count as a carbon?
So that's why he says it's not a good korban.
No, for
the original one. So that's Rashi's first shot. Rashi says that the point here is talking about that it's not. Rashi says it's before years, and the Chiddush says that it's not a good korban for the original owner. I don't see how it fits into the words of the Gemara.
Not for anyone.
You might think if the case was that he stole the animal before it was a korban, that has nothing to do with the original owner. But now that it's a korban, you might think that it's going to be credited to the original owner. Now it says that even though the original owner made it to a korban, and somebody else brought the korban, let it be like a shliach or something like that. So he's not the Yosef because so the article explained because it was stolen and the Aveira was done with it since it was stolen, so it's not a good korban. So the Gemara avoided the whole issue that we wanted to talk about if Yesh Kona or not. So Rabbi is safe again. More or less, I'm not so comfortable with what I just said, but first time around. We're continuing the two dots. The heart doesn't belong here either because we're still continuing the subject about is Yesh Kona or not. And we are changing directions now. Till now we were attacking Rab, but now we're going to attack Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef, the challenging of Yosef. Rav Yosef was the opinion that Yesh is not Kona. And now Abai is going to ask him kashas. Esef Baile Rav Yosef. Mishnah in Kalim. And so there's
there's no two dots.
Yes, right. There is, but
Yeah, I understand.
I don't see why it should have put the dots. It's still middle of the sugya. So the hides, one of them a couple tumas. So it depends what you want to use the hide for. If you want to use it for a rug, so it's a good rug as it is. You take the bear skin over there, you put it on the floor, whatever it is. So that's a good. So it's good. But if you want to make something out of it, like shoes, so then it's not makabel tum until you made it. So you have to make it a roy. So it's not a clear. It's still a golmei kalim. It hasn't yet been made. So here the question is, if somebody had a machshava that he wants to leave it the way it is that enough that it should make it tummy? If he decided that he wants to leave it as a rug, that's become tummy. His machshava. A rug is makabel tum, but he has to decide that he wants a rug. He has to people that
There's no clear. There's no.
should take later.
It's very confusable.
I'm forgetting the details, but you made it into okay. Even though you're right, it doesn't have a base kibble, but I don't know the details right now. So here it says that who is when he makes a decision, he wants to leave it the way it is. Is that enough to make it tummy, or does he have to do some kind of act to show that he wants to make it into a plea? So it says like this: it depends if it's a homeowner, a regular, or if it's a businessman, the one who is selling it. It's merchandise. The skins, the hides that a balabai owns. He bought it, he has skins, whatever, from the animal that he shot, whatever it is. Okay. So the fact alone that he thought he wants to leave it as a rug is enough to make it tamei. But shall abdan, but somebody who's a tanner, that's his business, he's a tanner, and he thought, I'm going to leave it as a rug. Ein machshava metamatan. The machshava alone that he planned to leave it as it is not enough to make it tamei. Rashi says because he might change his mind. He's in the business. He sells tan. He hides. Some might come and want to buy something. He wants to make shoes out of it. So the fact that he had a thought, it doesn't mean anything. He might decide to sell it, and it's not yet usable as is. So Ganda, now about the Ganda stole it. Now the Ganda stole it, and he decides what he wants to use it. Is that enough to make it decided that that's what it's going to be? Is it going to be a rug or is it going to be shoes? So here it says the difference between a Ganav and a Gazlan. Now, of course, it has to be that he's the owner. If he's not the owner, then his machshava is nothing. That's what the Gemara is driving at. Are we going to see if the Ganav acquired it or not? That he's now the new bailam. Of course, he has to pay for it. That the one he stole from. But is this thing going to belong to him? So here it says Shal Ganav machshava metamatan. Shal Gazlan ain't machshava metamatan. It depends if it's a Ganav or a Gazlan. As we said, a Ganav is someone who robs in secrecy. And a Gazlan is somebody who did it in the broad daylight. So there's a difference between a Ganav and a Gazlan. Rashi says the point could only be about years. Stam Ganeva years bailam or Stam Gazela years bailam. What is the default? What do we think as a rule? As the owner of Miyayish more from a Ganav or from a Gazlan? If it's robbed in secrecy or openly? What would you say? A Gazlan, what is more Miyayish? Which one? Yeah, but now the Ganav he doesn't know. But now go to the police.
So why would he?
Again, which way? If the Goblin is a guy who's a big guy, he comes with a gun, whatever,
Knows who he is.
but if he knows who he is.
Ah,
And the guy, if he doesn't know who he is, but it could be that he's a scaredy cat, came at night.
ah.
But so a Goslin came in the middle of the broad daylight, but you might go to the police and you
And
got
get back.
details, identification, you might get it back.
Yeah, but if the mafia guy, he's not getting it back.
Okay, the question is that
He's giving it up. He's a guy, okay,
Right.
it's yours, take it, leave me alone, I just want to live.
Okay, that was the next day. To go to the police the next day. The police still have
I'm not
it.
going to the police.
Okay, but it doesn't say mafia. It says Goslin. Okay, so that's the question. That's going to be a machlokus over here. Which one is a person more automatically miyayish? A ganav might be miyayish because he doesn't know who it is. And he might find out, but again, that's difficult. And a Goslin might be because he's a strong guy, Kabra Alma, and doesn't want to stand up with him. Stays miyayish from that. So that's the machlokus over here. So if you say you have an opinion, there's either Tanakam or Shimon. Yes, please.
It can be the opposite, though. The Ganav might return it. You don't know who he is, and he may have harata and return it. But the guy, very harif, isn't gonna. He's not gonna. He's gonna stand on his.
The Goslin also might do tshuva. Why not? The Goslin also can do tshuva.
By the way,
You bring in a new aspect about doing tshuva. I hear, but that could be both of them could do tshuva. Everyone should know they could do tshuva, even the Goslin.
no, you remind me of the story. Someone stole something from me, and he put it back a few days later.
Mhm.
Was it maybe a week later?
And you know who it was?
No, but
Oh, you just found it.
Yeah,
no, he stole my tefillin because I left on a table, and then I came back a week and I checked a few times the table wasn't there. 2 weeks later, he saw me. I put my head down on the table. And I got up. It was next. What do you call?
But you don't know who it was.
I don't know who it was, but he gave back.
Huh?
Took back. So. No, but he would probably apologize. I don't know. He's probably embarrassed to apologize. I don't know.
Okay, so here's the Mishnah, and Tanakama says that Shalganav Machshav Metamatan because Tam Gnev Yesh Bailam. That by the Gneva he doesn't know who it is, so the default is that probably he's not going to get, he's miyayish already. And this is what the was looking for. Yush. Is Yush enough here? It says that the fact that the owner is miyayish, Tam Gnev Yesh Bailam, so it's the reason why the Ganav owns it now. And his decision makes a difference. Shalgaz Machshav Metamatan because Tam Gnev not Yesh Bailam because he's going to get it back. I know who it is. So eventually I'll get it back. So there was no Yush over there. Rav Shimon says the opposite. They're also part of the Mishnah. Because the owner is miyayish tam gzeli yesh b'ayla because he's scared of him. So he's a strong guy. So that's why the Goslin is kona with the Yush. By Ganav, he's not miyayish because he's not scared of him. He doesn't know who he is. So he hopes to find people will see somebody saw him coming out of the window. So the Mishnah says difference about the Yush. So you see that Yush is enough to own it. The whole Mishnah has a question: who's miyayish? The Ganav, the one who was the Nignav or the Nigzal. But everybody holds that Yush is enough to make it the Omein, the Rishus of the Ganav, of the one. So you see Yush is Kona. Ushami no Yush Kona, Kasha against Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef said Yush is not Kona. Amalei, so Rav Yosef replied, my skin, you can go and check Kitzon. That Kitzon is a kind of the cut. Rashi says the cut. In French, dromir, to cut, that means that you have to do something else also. So it's getting a little bit involved with a little bit of a shinei maisa. A serious shinei maisa is enough to make a kinyan, like we said before, that a real shinei maisa, chitan b'asan solas, then everybody holds that that's considered enough to make a kinyan. The kind of kinyan geneva, and whatever kinyanim you need over there by Esnazon, or whatever the cases was, all the cases were applying this issue about kinyan. But this kind of a cutting is not enough to be considered a shinei ma'asa, but it's enough to join up together with the yush. That Rav Yosef says yush alone is not kona. You have to have yush plus something. Yush with a little bit of a shinei ma'asa. So he's getting out of the
But
kasha.
the owner doesn't see him making the yish. I mean,
That doesn't make a difference. We have to just talk about the owner if he's miyayish or not.
Right.
And now if he's miyayish, is that enough? Even if he's miyayish, Rav Yosef says it's not enough. It has to be that the
Until
kind
the
of
guy
also
makes
did something. He also cut something. He cut it at least.
And the Baal,
Doesn't make a difference. That's about Ganav and Gaz. That's the question about. That's the only question about Yush. So we talk about Ganav, Gaz, when is the only miyayish or not? But fine, that's one question. But now Yosef says all that, even if he was miyayish, it's not going to make it. It's not going to make it the Ganavs or the Gazlans enough that he should be able to make it tamei now because he has a decision. It's not his only if he started doing something. The kitzah will mean that he started cutting. So then it's a little bit of a shinei ma'aseh. Taisa speaks out that it has to be that it's only a very small Shinei Maisa. If it will be a real Shinei Maisa, then you don't need the years. The Shinei Maisa the Gemara said the whole time before, that's going to be Kona without years. We didn't talk about years till now. Years is a new subject. So here he's saying that years alone is nothing, but years with a little bit of a Shinei Maisa maybe is something. He could agree that it's something. So it's not a kasha on Yosef, because if it must be years alone, Rav Yosef still will say that it's not enough to be Kona. He had a kasha on this teretz. So could you say it's talking about Kitzin made a difference? Although Itzvah Shana over there, the Mishnah is talking about Itzvah. We'll see in a second. Rashi says Itzvah is a kind of a table. Others say it's a kind of a seat. It's something that doesn't need too much cutting out. I said a rug before. Maybe you could say a rug also. And the Gemara is asking that it doesn't need too much. You can leave it the way it is, and you don't have to cut it out. You don't need to cut it. People do cut it, but you don't need it. And it's only liyah post. It's only to make it nicer. And that's the most kasha, that you can't say that the kitzur makes a difference. If it's kona, it's because of yesh is yesh alone. If there's something that needs to be cut in order to shape it, so then you can say it's a little bit of a shinei maisa together with the yesh, maybe together with joints to make it tummy. But it's for something that doesn't need to be cut. It is done usually to make it nicer, but it's not so necessary. So therefore, the Gemara is asking that it shouldn't be counted as even a little shinei maisa, and therefore you do see that the yesh is enough to be kona. It's very kitzur, as he's going to bring a raya now, that is talking about a itzvah. Rashi says itzvah just means he says like a dovaki. Rashi says it means like a table of some sort. What does Rashi say? Did Rashi say? What did I see? Dovaki. Rashi says dovaki. They translate that as a table. Rashi says a table.
A small table or just a regular size?
Small table.
Okay.
If you want. Dolbeki. Yeah, thank you. Dolbeki shulchan alav v'chein shulchan. It's like a table. They eat on it. It's a small table. Others translate it as a kind of a seat. But the point is that it doesn't need to be cut to shape it. It's usable as is. And he brings a raya that the Mishnayos over there are talking about this itzvah with Ran. So this Rashi says the raya is because the two Mishnayos are adjacent to each other. This is Mishnah Zayin, the other one was Mishnah Ches. And the Mishnayos are talking about this kind of itzvah, that Ran. If there's something that doesn't need, it's not lacking any kind of a malacha, nothing else has to be done to it. So the fact that you want to leave it the way it is, machshava is enough to make it tamei. If there's something has to be done to it still, so then the fact that you had a machshava to leave it the way it is, that you want to make shoes out of it, so shoes need a lot of designing. So that's the fact that you decided you want to make it into a shoes, it doesn't make it tummy. You have to do that malacha. Itzvah is an exception that even though people do cut it, but it's not so necessary. Rashi says it's only a post, it's only to beautify it, but it's not mamish necessary. So therefore, that act is not considered so significant. And therefore, the Gemara is asking that if you're saying that Yush is not enough to be kona for the Ganav, then the fact that he cut it a little bit also shouldn't be significant. So that teretz is off. Go back to the kasha on Rav Yosef that you see here, the Chorif from the Ganav and the Gazlan, that Yush enough is kona. Elama Rava, Haimil Sakashi by Rabba Rav Yosef, Essen Bertatin Shnen. Below Africa. Rabba was the Rosh Hashiva before Rav Yosef. He was Rosh Hashiva for 22 years. And then after he was lifted, Rav Yosef became the Rosh Hashiva. So it said that Rabba asked this kasha to Rav Yosef for all the 22 years. All the 22 years that he was Rosh Hashiva, he asked this kasha to Rav Yosef, I hold Yesh is Kona, Yod Yesh is not Kona. There's fresh Mishnayos about the Ganav and the Gazlan that they see Yesh is Kona. And he didn't have an answer. Then when he became Rosh Hashiva, he got an answer. How did he get an answer? Because he became Rosh Hashiva? I don't know. Siyata L'Shmai, okay.
No. Okay,
maybe, but doesn't say.
It's not brought down. It said the Shemel Rabbim.
Maybe this is the source. Here it says that Rav asked a person this question for 22 years. It doesn't say here because Rosh Hashiva, the time another Gemara says that, and he didn't have an answer. And Yosef then Yosef became to Rosh Hashiva, he had an answer. What's the answer? Shinu Hashem. So we're bringing a new concept we don't talk about till now. We spoke about Shinei Maisa, and we spoke about Viyush, and now he's talking about Shinei Hashem. Shinei Hashem means that it changed names. It got a different name, it got a different label. And he's saying that also is the reason that it should be Kona. If he did something that even though it's not a Shinei Maisa, and it's not, and Yesh is not the subject, that name changed. That's enough also to be considered a change, and now it belongs to the Ganav.
Pirka means he came to understand something.
Which word?
The word Pirka.
He answered.
He answered.
Shini Hashem Kishnei Maisa. The changing of the name is also like changing doing an act in it. Shinu Dami. Shinu Maisa my time. Why is Shinu Maisa a reason to become a Kenyan? Hasam Shinu Maisa my time. Hasam. Mekara Eitzim Hashta Kalim. Not sure the word Hasam. Mekara Eitzim Hashta Kalim. Before it was wood, and then now it's a kli. You put wood, they made a kli into it. That's called a Shinu Maisa. That's the reason why it's considered a change. And the Ganav is Kona. Shini Hashem Nami, Mekara Kole Mishcha Vashta Abrazin. The fact that you have a different name, also before it was called skin, hide, Mishcha is hide, and now it's called Abrazin. Rashis Abrazin is another way of saying this utzva, this table, whatever we call it.
Oh, you're making the table out of hide? Is that what it is?
Yes, that's what leather over here, almost like it's out of and that's the Gemara's answer. What's Rav Yosef's answer? Rav Yosef said yours is not Kona, but he's saying, but Shini Hashem is Kona, and over here you have a Shini Hashem. The difference is because of Shini Hashem. What was the kasha again? The kasha was from the Ganav, the Oros of the Ganav, and the Ganav didn't do anything. The most thing that says the Ganav with the Machshava alone changes it. And the question is, so why does it belong to the Ganav? Why is he the Mandam over here? And the Gemara thought it's only because of years. And now the Gemara is saying the fact that now he refers to it as a rug, as a table, whatever, as a table. So that's the reason why it's called a Shinu. If he would have Mamish made a Shinu, and if he would have done a Shinu Maisa, he would have taken the Chit and made it into soulless. So then surely it's considered a Shinu Maisa and the Ganav is Kona. And the Gemara's kasha was, he didn't do anything like that. He just decided that it's going to be a table. Why is it Kona? Must be because of the years. So Yosef says, no, not because of the years, because he caused it to be called a different name. And a Shini Hashem is also enough to be considered an actual change. And that's the reason why it's Kona.
Does that work over time as well? Even though say it's not active? There he's calling it by a different name.
And it gets called. Now it gets called. It gets called by, so probably he changed it, and now everybody calls it that now. The fact that he uses it as a table, the people call it that, that's enough reason why it should be Kona, because he made a Shini Hashem. It takes a long time, I don't know.
Like what about with the example of the animals? It went from being adolescent to an adult. So the name changed.
Not because of the name, because it's considered a different thing. It could be over there. It could be, it's a nice point that the case of the lamb and the ram could be that also the name. But once you say this point, maybe we'll go into the issue of the Shini Hashem. Over there, the Gemara just wanted to know, is it a different thing? And Shaul saying a nice point that even if you don't say it's a different thing, maybe the name, you'll Shini Hashem. So put that onto the table. That it's a different name now.
Rebbe.
Nice point. I don't know.
Does it help to say Hashem Shinei Mazel? Does that help to?
No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about, is it considered a Kenyan? Is it considered a different?
I'm saying because it's got new Mazel, it might be also have a.
We don't know who the owner is. We want to know who is it the same thing as before or not? So it has people. There's a thing of Shini Hashem also by people who want to do tshuva. They make a Shini Hashem. Till now, his name was Ruben. Now it's Shimon. He changes his name. He's a different person. But that's more conceptual.
Was a pusher, and now he decides to do tshuva. He changes his name. So I'm saying that he's a Ganef. Now he's going to give it a name. Now he's that guy.
No, he's not talking about the guy. We're talking about the object that he stole. By changing its name, that's the reason why he's considered a new owner.
Rebbe.
He doesn't have to do that. You see it. He just has to change his name.
I think so. I think the fact that he now calls it a table, and now that he decides machshava, does he have to start calling it? The fact that he changed it to a thing which now is going to have a different name, that's also called the Shina.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not the word, the name. It's something different.
That's the question. How do you make it different? It's the same thing. It didn't change anything. It's the same
Something
thing.
esoteric.
Physically, it's the same thing. But
What did it change from?
It's
from a high to a table. I'll call it a rug in our scenario. Till now it was called a high.
To use it for something else, but not
So now it's
he called it a different name.
The Gemara has to say. That's Shini Hashem. That was a Marshkash. He didn't change anything. The Gemara is saying, what did he change? He didn't do anything. The cutting is nothing, and the only thing he didn't change it. He didn't
designate it.
Okay, call it designated.
It's designated. It's not the word.
It's designated for what? That's what the Gemara is saying. It's a new chiddush now. That Shini Hashem is just something. The fact it's mamish the same. Physically, it's the same thing. Until now, it was called a hide, and now it's called a rug. And the Gemara says, if you hold Shini Hashem, that's enough reason why you should transfer domains. Now it now belongs to the Gan. The Gan is Kona b'Shini Hashem.
Sounds esoteric. It sounds more esoteric than physical, and then
We're saying we're not talking about physical. We're talking about the name. The name is a considered change, also now belongs to the Gan.
Why do you give so much credence to this Ganef? I mean,
he's not credence. We're talking about he's a Russia and like you can call him, and he's going to suffer all the punishment of being a Ganef. But the question is, he has to return at least the money.
So that's
Ah, so
That's not
change
really
is
strange.
not-
But he doesn't. But he doesn't have to return the Gnei because he was going.
It's like the beam of the house, something like that. That he doesn't have to knock down the house to give him the beam. He can. It seems to me they can give him.
The more going to read that for the next
Tikkun
line, but
Shabbat.
yeah, that's something else. We're not talking about the Kanas Hashavim. That's what the more is going to be medayik in 2 lines. That we're talking about he's going it not because the Kanas Hashavim, because Mina did that he was going it now because he stole it, then he made a change, and now it's his, and he has to pay back money. But the original owner doesn't have not the thing itself.
I see. Sure. Oh, that's the issue. Okay.
The Gemara brought other things also that might have relevance. The Gemara brought about if it's called something else, if it's a different domain as far as Estan Zona that it changed. Shinei Maisa, maybe Shinei Shem also might be now. And also the Gemara brought an issue about Rishis Agez, that he doesn't have to give the gaze anymore to the Kohen because it's not the same thing. It's not called, it's not wool, it was dyed already. So maybe there are other applications to this Yisod also. Anyway, this is a verse of Chiddush. I'm surprised, I don't know enough, but he's the one who brought up Shinei Hashem. The one I was going to attack it, that Shinei Hashem, the Gemara was going to ask Kashas on it. Rav Yosef is the one who's behind the Shinei Hashem. That's what the Gemara seems to say over here. I thought that it was other places also. But that's the Gemara's Kasha, and that's the Gemara's Teres. Rav Yosef says, I still hold to my opinion that Yerush is not Kona, but Shinei Hashem is Kona. The Gemara's Kasha on this. By maybe you put parentheses if you like. This is just that's the challenge. What Rav Yosef said that Shinei Hashem is a Kina. Morish, I don't know how you pronounce it. Then it means a beam. And this is what the Chaim Tov was referring to a second ago. Because Shinei Hashem over there, it was changing it when you build a beam into a building. Before it was called a beam. The Mekar Kshua V'Hashta Talala. Before you called it a beam, and now you call it a ceiling. And that should be enough of a kinyan according to you. And we have it right at not. It means if you want to know that if a Ganav changed the beam and now he made it into a roof, so that should be enough reason that he shouldn't have to give it back. He only has to pay for it because it changed names. But it says not like that. The Mishnah says they made a takana over there, tikkun olam, that if somebody stole a beam and he built it into his house, so minadin, he shouldn't have to take apart the house in order to give back the beam. So they made a takana that he doesn't have to pay for it because takanas hashavim, they make it easier to do tshuva. If he does tshuva, he's going to have to take down his house in order to give back the beam. That's going to be a very big deterrent to do tshuva. So in order to help them out, they made takanas hashavim. What does that mean? The minadin, he would have to return it. Right. And the one is asking if you hold Shinei Hashem is enough to change it, so it's not called a beam anymore. Before it was called a beam, now it's called a roof. So that should be enough reason why you shouldn't have to give it back. You should just pay for it. Time up and they takanas hashavim. Right. Top of the page.
Easy for you to see.
Why isn't that? If not for the fact that takanas hashavim, you'd have to give it back as is. Why? If you say Shinei Hashem
means as is.
It means as is. So if you hold that Shinei Hashem is enough to make a kinyan, you shouldn't have to. Rav Yosef, Morish Shmolalav. It's called a beam even while it's built in. It doesn't change the name. You call it a roof also if you want to, but it still has the original name. It is called a beam. People call it a beam even when it's built in. The Tanya brings it right to this. So it brings a pasuk. Rashi says pasuk in Yecheskel, and here we have it on the side. V'achalonim atumos v'timorim mipo mipo al kisvos ha'olam v'tzalos habayis v'ha'ubim. And v'ha'ubim, that last word, is translated as the beam, and it sounds like it's called a beam even after it's built in already. This is talking Yecheskel, where it's talking about the Beis HaMikdash, the Bayis Shlishi, and Yecheskel saw a vision of how the Beis HaMikdash is going to look, and it talks about the different parts of the structure. And the last thing in the pasuk says ubim, which the Targum is going to be a marishos, and you see which means a beam, and it's called a beam even after it's built in. What does it say in the Gemara? Salos habayis elu amalatatin. So Rashi says that those are some kind of I don't know the word in English either, but it means you have boards around the doorways and around the windows in order to make it nice. Right. What is the word? Posts, molding, something like that. And that's what the tzalos are. And ha'ubim is the marishos, which we know that the word marish means a beam. So that's an answer to the kasha that it didn't change name because it's still called a beam. We thought that once it's in the built in, it's not called a beam anymore. So he says no, it is called a beam. Another terrorist discussion. It's something which is only temporary. As long as it's built in, it's called the roof. Once you take it out, if you're going to undo the house and take it apart, it's going to be called a beam again. That's called the shina chosel lebriyoso. It's a change which goes back to its original state, and that's not called a shina. So he says even if you log on Rav Yosef and say that while it's built in, it's not called the beam, it's called the roof or ceiling. But once you take it apart, it's called a beam again. Other things that it doesn't, it's not close to the Bios. So the Shini Hashem Rabbi Yosef said was that this piece of hide, after you change it, you decide it's going to be a rug, it's called a rug. And even after you decide not to a rug, it's called a rug until you make it into something else. It's not going to be called a hide anymore. So Rabbi Yosef could be right that a Shinui Hashem is a change, is considered a Shinui, and there's no kasha on the case from this beam. Another kasha, there's next words you could read it. Shinui means the Gemara is again a second. If you want, you could take this out. Some of your stores don't have it. Take out the whole line, or they change it a little bit. And the point is, kasha number 2. The first kasha, we're taking Rav Yosef who said that Shinui Hashem is something. Yeah, we're gonna show that Shinui Hashem it doesn't make a change. How about a pipe to make our kitzitza? Before you made it into a pipe, so it's a kitzitza. Rashi says like a log. You had a log that you made into a pipe. How do you make it into a pipe? You carve it out, and it becomes a pipe. So before it was called call it a log or a piece of wood, and then it was made into a pipe. It has a different name. So according to you, that's considered a change. And the Gemara is going to talk about the other applications besides Geneva that is different if it's called a shinu or not. Yeah. We know Ma'am Shuvim that if water was drawn, so then it becomes possible for a mikvah. And it doesn't have to be dafka a kli, dafka a bucket. It could be any kind of a kli. So water that came through a pipe, this becomes Ma'am Shuvim. That's why when they want to make a mikvah, they have to use different kind of techniques to get the water into the mikvah. They can't just bring it with pipes; it'll become Ma'am Shuvim. So here it says you got a pipe that was kabo, it was chakiko, it was self kabo. Chakiko means you carved it out, made a pipe, and then you put it, then you fixed it into the ground. So it's supposed to be mikvah because it's a kli. The pipe is a kli. But if you first put the log of wood into the ground without being a pipe, and then you carved it out, and it's supposed to be mikvah because it's not called a pipe. It's part of the ground. If you made it at first, when it was metaltel, it was talush, then it's called a kli. And by connecting it to the ground, it doesn't take away the same kli. It's a kli which is connected. But if you first connected a piece of wood to the ground, connected it to the ground, and then you carved it out to become a pipe, then it's not shuvah.
It's called ground. You can call it ground.
It's called ground. It's not called the
Yeah, it's not called a kli.
What's the one from that? I'm sorry?
Making a canal.
Right. Very nice. And that's really not called a kli. The Moskash is, if you hold Shini Hashem, I wouldn't have thought the Yam Shini Hashem Milsahi, I feel cover of Chokik or not really possible. The Gemara is asking that if right now it's called a pipe, it is called a pipe, even if you first put the piece of wood, connected the piece of wood to the ground, and then you carved it out, the mice is called a pipe now. So that should make it that it should be considered even cover of Chokik. A lot of applications. The Gemara is jumping around to different topics, not only Geneva, we had already Esnan, Zona, you had a case of Meshis Agez, and now we have another case about mikvah, that the Gemara is applying these principles. If you say that Shini Hashem is enough to consider a change, so it's a Shini Hashem, even if it's mechober to the ground, this log of wood, but now that people will call it a pipe, they're not going to call it a canal, they're going to call it a pipe. They don't know the difference. They don't care if it was first kabel or self-kabel. They call it a pipe. And if you say that Shini is enough to make a change, so it should be a change. It should be a pipe. It should be Ma'am Shuvim. So the one wants to prove that Shini Hashem. I'm embarrassed to talk about that. If you hold that Shini Hashem is enough to be considered a change, it should be considered. It should be considered clean. It should be Meshuvim. So that's a kasha against Rav Yosef, who had to say that Shini Hashem is a change. The Yam, Shini Hashem will say, "People cover themselves up for an possible." The more answers, Shani Shiva, the Banani. You're right. Technically, you're right that it should become possible because you made it into a pipe, even though it was first attached to the ground. But the whole Psul Shuvim is Rabbanan. Rashi says the Psul Shuvim is if it's Shlosh Lugim Shuvim. Means if the whole mikvah was Shuvim, so then it might be the Raisa. But the fact that once you had 3 Lugim was about a liter. And once you had 3 liters of Maim Shuvim, the rest of the mikvah is possible. Means before you had 40 sa. Once you have 40 sa, Bakosha mikvah, rainwater that was not brought with shuvim, so then you can put as much water as you want, like you do all the mikvahs every day. You have the bar, that's the otzar that has the kosher mikvah. Now you could add on kol meim mishabol. But before you had 40 sa, if you had 3 lugim, 1 liter of maim shuvim, so all the mikvah becomes possible. You can't, no matter how much rainwater is going to come in this person. That's only a drabban. That's only a psalm rabbanan. So for that, they said it's okay once it was kabo, it comes out if I'm right. But I just am thinking as I'm talking that if they would have made the whole mikvah, then this halacha wouldn't be true. see what the Gemara is saying now is, is kosher. It only means for the dinner of Shlosh Lugin. But if it would have been the whole mitzvah was made like that, then it doesn't help. And that's why probably they don't have such a simple Eitzah. And they want to make a mikvah, they don't have a simple Eitzah of just making Kabbalah of B'Sov Chakiko, because the Gemara says that the Shimi Hashem, the fact that it changed, so now it is considered a tzino. It does make Ram Shuvim. For Psul Rabbanan, for Shibud Rabbanan, only 3 lugim, then it's okay. But if it will be a case where it will be a Psul Deraisa, then it could be that it would be possible, even if it will be Kabbalah of B'Sov Chakiko. If you're saying that the whole thing is Rabbanan, so you don't care. So even the ratio where you put a Kabbalah, you made a pipe. What's the problem? It's only Psul Rabbanan. So but there it's more noticeable. I guess it's more bold, conspicuous that if you see a kli. So once they made a kli, so then they possibly even to Shibud Rabbanan. But for something which was B'Sov Kobo, for this chumah that Shini Hashem made it into a sinor, we're not going to be machman Rabbanan. So that was a side. Yes, please.
The Gemara is talking about Shini Hashem to be koine, right?
And the application is going to be
same thing is going to be Shini Hashem to be
to make the Gemara, and the Gemara before also talked about Esna, and the Gemara about Reish Zagez, that is considered a Shinoi, so it's not the same thing as before. And the Ghana
goes the same way.
That's what it sounds like, and it sounds like maybe the word is going to be because it's not the same thing. Maybe not even need it. Like Ram's asked me before, is it a pasuk? How do you know all these things? Is it a pasuk? Is it a svara? It could be it's a svara. That's not the same thing anymore. The Ghana says, this is not what I stole. I made it into something else. I stole chitim, and now this is soulless. I owe you money, but that thing is not here anymore. It disappeared. You want your chitim back? What can I do for you? It's not here. That seems to be a svara. So the Gemara is saying that the same svara should apply to other applications also. So this came in as a side point, is that we were challenging Rav Yosef, who was Mechad Shini Hashem. He was the one who was Mechad Shini Hashem, and we had 2 kashas. One was from the Morish, and one was from the Tzino, and the Gemara answered both kashas. So he's okay. Rav Yosef is still on the map, and we're continuing with the subject about years. Right, years. Machlokes is going to be years. That's the machlokes about Rav Yosef. The years is kona, and we're trying more texts. Meisvei Agana Bagazan Ba'anas V'Gvish Agvish and Hektish Trumas and Truma or Masros and Masa. Agana Bagazan. Rashi says we're getting confused now with Rav Shimon. Which one is Stam Yesh, Stam Genevi Yesh Bailam, Stam Zeli Yesh Bailam? That's a kasha, but here it sounds like both. Stam Genevi, Stam Zeli Yesh Bailam, and Anas somebody. What's the Anas? He's a scary guy, a mafia. And if they now they stole it, and they're makdish it, and they make take of Truma, take of Maisa, Goysa Tzadikim. But what does it say that it's good? It's hektish, it's Truma, it's Maisa, because they're the owner. Because Stam it must be because they're Yesh. You see, Yesh is Kona. Who are they to make Trumas and hektish? That's not his. It belongs to the owner. And it says here that it is good. So don't you see that Yesh is Kona? The answer is Amri Yasan Mika Shini Hashem. So same times again. Rabbi Yosef is saying it's together with the Shini Hashem. It's not the Yesh, it's the Shini Hashem. To make once he's going with his chiddush, that Yesh, that Shini Hashem is enough to make it.
After they're taking it.
Why?
The Yesh is after they're taking it.
I think so, yeah. And that was what the Gemara's point was, that Aveda, the Yesh only is enough that you're allowed to keep the Aveda. Somebody lost something, and it came to your hands after the Yesh. That's for sure. It's yours.
Right.
But the Yesh that happened after the Geneva, so that you came into your hands Be'eser. Now the owner is Miyash. That's the question if it's good enough.
Are they showing up at his door and looking for something in his Miyash, or they're taking the item in his Miyash?
I'm not following. What's the 2 choices? The gun stole and the owner.
They're taking. When's the usually? They're taking the item out of the house, or they're showing up to his house, and he's like, "Oh, these guys are showing up to collect."
I'm not following. After they stole. They stole. They woke up in the morning and it's so now the Makdish he stole a piece of jewelry. Now he's Makdish it. So that's the Nevektish. He stole somebody's wheat, and now he takes a Trumas and Maishers, so it takes effect. Why? Because it's his. Why is it his? So the Gemara told because of years. And the Gemara says if Yosef can't say Yosef holds years. So he says it's his because of Shini Hashem. He made a Shini Hashem. How did he make a Shini Hashem? To make Korah Tivla, Vashta Truma, Hektish. Also, make Korah Chulen, Vashta Hektish. Right? That's when Shini Hashem comes. He made a Shini Hashem. How did he make a Shini Hashem?
And that becomes his.
So you're saying that Ba'alusai, the Trumasai Bankachas, like the Shini Hashem. How did Pinchas is saying that it's not his until the Shini Hashem. So how is he Makasha? He's making sure. Is it Truma? Is it yours? Why is it yours? It's not Yish is nothing. So you say because it's a different name. How is it a different name? Because I made it a different name. Did you make it a different name? It's like the Bankachas kind of thing. That both of them come simultaneously. Since the Truma was called a different name, so simultaneously becomes his and it becomes a good Truma. Nice point. That's what the Gemara is saying. So again, if Yosef is protecting himself, defending himself, that he said that Yish is not Kona, the more a couple of kashas, and he answered them that those cases is Yish. Is Shinu Hashem. What?
You would make brachas on the seed.
Maybe that's not a sugya about Hashem. That maybe I forgot that sugya over there. I think you're right. That if you hold that in case we get Kona, so then you don't say Hashem. I think, but I don't know. Forgot. So we didn't finish Mamish, but we finished Rabbi of Yosef. And I put it to Das over here. Rabbi of Yosef had a subject over there. Everybody held the Shinu Ma'aseh is Kona. The question was about Yush. And the Gemara ended, Machlokas of Yush is Kona. The Gemara kashas both ways. We answered all the kashas. Still Machlokas Rabbi of Yosef. Rabbi holds that Yush is Kona. He wasn't sure it was the Rais of Rabbanan, but he knew for sure that it's Kona. And he had the kasha 22 years. He had the kasha, he had the raya from Ganav and the Gazlan, all these things that you see that the Yush is enough. And Rav Yosef holds that Yish is not coming, but he was machadish l'shita, so he had to hold that Shinoi Hashem is coming. That came in Agav, and Rabbi doesn't have to hold it. So far, we didn't. Rav Yosef only was machadish that Shinoi Hashem was coming because he was stuck. That it says something that sounds like Yish. You have to say Shinoi Hashem, and the word kasha Shinoi Hashem, a couple of kashas that sounds like Rabbi didn't have to say that. Only Rav Yosef is the one who has to be machadish that Shinoi Hashem was coming. Amar Avkistam Rav Yonasan. So far it doesn't get us jump up because everybody holds that Shini is Kona. The only question was about Yush. But here we're bringing a source. The Shini is Kona, which we were happy with. Extra words. We had this yesterday. The more Rabbi also said this yesterday when he introduced that Shini is Kona, Ksibo, Taninas, Psukim, and his Mishnayos. This was the pasuk he brought. He should return the lost, the stolen object. That he stole. In Cain, the answer is there must be Dashan. In Cain goes al Yasi. If it's still the same thing that he stole, he should return the stolen object that he stole. It's the same that he stole. But if it's not the same as he stole, there was a Shinoi Maisa done to it. So then he doesn't have to pay the thing, he does pay his money. There was a side cash on this. Hi, which the more could have asked yesterday also, the same Gemara. Hi, she goes on me boy, Lamute Gezalaviv, She'eno Mosif Chomish al Gezalaviv. The more learns out later on to say Kufdalit or something that the Drasha to say that only if he stole it. That only if he stole it, but if his father stole it and he's returning it, then he doesn't have to pay the Chomish. Rashi brings down that the Karani does have to pay for his father, but the Chomish not. But whatever it is, there's a special Drasha that he only pays for his Gzela. So that's why he says Gzela Asher Gaza, that he stole. But if his father stole, he doesn't have the same Chiyuvim. So how could he dash in this new Drasha that Kain Shegaza? The answer is, we could have said it shorter. Just wanted to say his and not his father's. Then he could have said it with one extra vote that he should return his gazela. That would have already excluded his father's. The fact that it said it in a longer way, whole pasuk Asher Gazal, is to tell you the drasha of Kain Shegazal. So this was Rav Chisda Rav Yonasan that said Shini is Kona. Asher Gazal, we knew this yesterday already. This was the source to say that Shini is Kona. Rav Chisda Rav Yonasan She'eino Kona. That's a big one. No one held it out till now. We had when the one wanted to say somebody holds that Shini is not Kona, we said B'Shamai, but everybody else held that Shini is Kona. Here the Gemara brings Rav Chisda Rav Yonasan that Shini is not Kona. Not a Shegazah. And it doesn't say Asher Gaza. It doesn't say Asher Gaza. Well, except Asher Gaza. We said, so he has a drasha for that. He doesn't say what the Gemara says before that he could have said no. He holds that this the drasha is saying and it goes. So he holds the Shini is not Kona. So I never heard of this. Beishamai is the one who says Shini is not Kona. Now Rabbi Yonasan is also saying Shini is not Kona. Everyone knows Shini is Kona. So I'm not sure. Maybe he's going to say Pshat and Beishamai. I don't know. Here it says Shini. Here Rabbi Yonasan says Shini is not Kona, and so far everybody agreed. That's true. Now the Gemara has a new Mandiyama. This is going to be Ula now. We had here Rav Chisda Rav Yonasan. And now goes Ula. And he goes into Yush. He's taking the side of Yosef, that Yush is not going. So she was tackling Yush, and so Ula says that Yush is not going like a Yosef. Shenema. It's talking about a pasuk in Malachi, I think. Is that where it is? That Malachi, that people, Hashem was, the Navi was getting Musa, that people are bringing things that are not covered to Hashem. They're Mizalzel and they're voted the Beis Hamikdash. And he says, you bring over there, they keep on saying, what I do, like, Bameh, like, the Navi is very interesting over there. That the Navi gives them big Musa. It says, let me say, you say that Avodas Hashem, Nivzahu, everything is like they don't know what they're doing. I think it's a very big eye opener that people don't realize what they're doing until the Navi has to. Even the Navi said, "You're doing this and this." He said, "What I do? What did I do?" And then he tells them, "You say this." So a lot to learn from there. So it says, "V'amartem minei matla'a v'ipachtem oso." Omar Hashem is what? I forgot the beginning of the pasuk. You bring all kinds of korbanos that are a stolen korban. You bring a lame korban. You bring a sick korban. You bring such kind of korbanos. You expect I'm going to want to take it. You show that the whole thing is behuzah to you. So it says over there pisech and the gazul. He stole a stolen animal and a lame. Gazul do me the pisech. The word is not pesach. The word is pisech. Pisech means lame. So the pasuk puts it together in the same sentence: stolen and lame. Mapisech, let's take the counter club, but he can't get better. Once he's lame, he's the kind of a lameness that's permanent damage. So also the gezel, there's no takana. Af gazul, base, the let's take the counter. That means that the yish doesn't change anything. Let's take the counter. Loshno lacha. That was a source to say that yish is not common. What?
If you should be kind, then you would be able to bring it for the korban also.
Right. That's what the more wanted before korban. No, right? Korban. And of course, it is a kind of a shino that is going to maybe be good for a korban, like chitin vasan solas, but that's not called the same thing anymore. But this thing, I think that's the kasha that's
You can't do it.
Right, by animal, by what? But the same thing. How does it go? If you changed it, so it's not the same thing anymore. But the same thing. The only thing you can talk about is Yerush, that the thing is the same thing, but the owner was Miyayish. And that's what the Gemara is being B'dayik, that in Kozol, as is, there's no way to bring it. And if you hold Yerush is Kona, then even as is, there's a way to bring it. If it's Miyayish, there's a Raya, that Yerush is not Kona. Rabba brings a different source to say Yerush is not Kona. So this is Rabba, just to point out today, we changed the gears over there before, but Rabba. So Rabba here says Korbono, V'lo HaGazul. That it says in the pasuk Korbono, that his korban is kosher, but you can't bring a stolen animal for a korban. And same thing the Gemara said before today. If the owner was not Beyayish, someone stole an animal and the owner was not Beyayish, Pshita. Why is it Pshita? Why is it Pshita that it's not a good korban?
It's not his.
So who says it has to be his? Korban no. What the Gemara says Korban no v'lo gazlo. Any problem? You might have thought that if he stole an animal and brought it for a korban, like
he used his korban with Shimon's korban.
But Shimon's animal.
With Shimon's animal. It's not his.
It's not his animal.
What's the problem? If I go to grocery, give you money. I stole it from you, but I bought the food. Why don't I feel to bring korban? It's about variable. What's the problem? I take your money and buy
someone else's behemoth. He didn't bring the korban.
You put korban, just something else.
I cooked
up your behemoth. I didn't see a problem. Hopefully not, but I'm just saying. But it's I did something wrong, but it's still a korban.
Chaim David, you wanted to say, I'm not sure. Chaim David wanted to say because it says became. Or the Yaakov became korban. Became. But here the Gemara says a little bit more. Lama likra. You don't need pashita. Lama likra. Chorah means that you don't need a pasuk at all. So Pinchas is saying that it's possible to become a korban for somebody else's animal.
But you want to remind us that we had a Gemara of Gozel korban the Chavrei.
Right, that's going to be the answer. But that's a korban already. But here it's one animal. It wasn't a korban. He stole somebody else's animal. You want to make it for your korban, and the was pshita you can.
He's coming. How can a person get a kapara on something that?
He gets that for stealing. It's not a problem.
No.
But he wants to
all
the korban.
He's bringing
He wants to bring a korban ola.
Or is like a maternity.
And when is the pshita to the Gemara that he can't bring a korban from somebody else's animal? Pshita.
You can't.
You cannot.
Right.
So when it says you don't need a
We
pasuk.
didn't believe it.
Right, so I asked you, you said a pshat, but I'm not sure if the Gemara says that here. Because it says you don't need a pasuk at all. Even not a pasuk, you can't bring somebody else's animal for a korban. Elalav lacha yish. It must be something. It must be a chiddush that the yish is not enough. And you see, shlamina yish lo kani. That's Shabbos raya that yish is not kani. And the Gemara jumps up, shlamina. And the Gemara jumps up that the one this morning, we started an hour ago. Over there, Rabbi said the matchin is raya. Rabbi was protecting Rabbi before. Rabbi is the one who said that the yish is kona. And there was a kasha on him from this Gemara, Yish is not Kona. And he answered, Rabba before defended Rabba. Rabba defended Rabba. But Rabba who don't get the Gosel Korban the Chabre. He's the one who said that the Pshat in this pasuk is saying that he stole the Korban. And over there, we said one of Rashi's Pshatim that the Yish is really not Kona. Yish is really yes Kona, Rabba says. But yes, the Yish is not Kona because who's Miyayish? The owner, the original owner. But he's not the owner anymore. Once he was Makdashis, and now it's because of the Rahman, and now it's in Hashem's treasury, and Hashem wasn't Miyayish. So it's not a right to the subject if the Yish of the owner is Kona or not. So how so Rabbi himself didn't say this pshat. He said that it's not a raya from here. Here he's saying it is a raya. By same hadabe, either he changed his mind. I don't know which one he had first. I'm not sure which was first, which was second. But now he changed his mind. It is a good raya. It's not a good raya. Even though both of them were quoted in the name of Rava, but one of them was really Rapapa. And sometimes it gets confused, Rava and Rapapa, because Rava was the Rebbe of Rapapa. So sometimes Rapapa says things, that's what Rashi says, I think. Sometimes Rapapa says something and they thought they were saying the name of his Rebbe, we were saying it in his own name. So it's not the contradiction. What happened today? We had 2 or 3 subjects. We talked about Shino and Maisa for sure, but that wasn't so sure that if Chris has quoted that Shino not, yes?
No, that.
Shammai
holds that not.
Shammai holds not, and Chris Yonason says maybe not, I don't know. And then there was, and what? And we had a subject 2 days ago or yesterday that there was a Klev and Asa these things is enough. Is that enough of a Shino? Is that enough of a Shino? Shino might say everybody holds yes, but that was question, that enough of a Shino? And Shaul brought up today that maybe it should be Shini Hashem. If you hold Shini Hashem, so Klev is also a subject. Okay? Something to think about. So that's one subject, Shini Maisa. Then there was a Yush, which was the big machlokes of Rabbi and of Yosef. If Yush is enough to be Kona or not. Now we have also machlokes here. Who's that? Ula said also on the side of Yosef, the Yush is not Kona.
Somebody knocked off the sword of Yosef. Who was that?
They were trying to, but it didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work.
They got back on again. And Rabbi Yosef had to bring in about Shini Hashem, and that's enough. And the Chiddush that he had to say Shini Hashem was also a Kenyan. And the Gemara said, asked some kashas, but some of them we said that it didn't change the name even while it's built in. It's still called the beam. And something about by the mikvah also, if you hold Shini Hashem, but also a big chiddush that Shini Hashem is going to make something possible by a mikvah. The applications we had so far, I think, besides Geneva, if you have to get back to the original thing or you could pay, there's also about Esnan Zona, that if it changed its essence, whatever, so if it changed, so then it's not called the original Esnan Zona, it's kosher for a korban. And the Advaitists, I guess, that if he changed the wool, then it wouldn't be called the original wool, he doesn't have to give it to the Kohen. And we had to hear about mikvah, that even if it's a karka, but if even being mechuber, it has a new independent name, so then also it's going to be possible because of shuvah. And it came out that if you hold like not like Rav Yosef, Shini Hashem is nothing. So okay, there's no problem. So if you hold Shini Hashem is Kona, so then you have to say that mikvah is only an apostle because it's Rabban and shuvah and Rabban of Shloshim Lugim. And we just pointed out, according to that if it would be the whole mikvah, then it's going to be possible, even if it was Kabbalah so far.
That's the machlokes Risha. Rashi says Shloshim. Rashi hold it all shuvim is the right, but many Rishonim hold.
It didn't even all shuvah is
Rabban. Only tefillah with Topah Kli. That's what's open.
So then Bava Kamma that could use this Kabbalah of Chakika could even be used for the whole mikvah. You want to make a mikvah? You want to make?
How are you going to get the water to there?
With pipes. You bring pipes, make pipes with this Kabbalah of Chakika. You be able to bring the water to the mikvah with pipes. That's the only they use pipes. That's Kabbalah of Chakika. Use pipes that are Kabbalah of Chakika. You can bring water from the river to the mikvah.
So a year or 2 ago, they bought snow from the Harmon.
Right, so that was other ways. Okay. Yashikar, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, I never saw a little truck.
Todarabah.
Yeah, but they make all kinds of focus when they bring the snow. But they don't put it into Kli. They make sacks. Actually,